Something incredible has happened here today. I opened the show by telling Malsey that last night I literally woke up and thought of something I've thought of many times over the years, myself missing a layup in a big game in high school, and I should have made it. It was a finger roll. It went off the back rim. It should have gone in. And that led to stories from texters and stories from Craigers and Malsey, who painted the picture of a very sad day for him many years ago in a cross-country race.
Their guy who was trailing me by a full maybe 2 minutes when I started my run, running past me somehow. Like the race of his life. Their third guy, not their anchor leg, their third guy. I was supposed to make more distance between me and him so we had a chance with our anchor versus theirs. Him running past me as my dad is standing there imploring me to run faster, and I'm totally gassed.
Oh, that's sad, actually.
And the guy, I don't know what, because I buried him in a regular meet later in the year. I got my revenge, but I'll never forget that one. I think he became like a minister.
Yeah, that
His
one.
name is Tom Fodi. And Tom,
Fodi.
If you're
Fodi's
out there,
revenge.
Tom Fodi of Northgate High School, I've never forgotten it.
Fodi is here. We were just talking about this last segment.
In the flesh.
And he's here. There was a man standing next to Craigers, and it turned out to be Mr. Fodi. Take it away, please.
So at the end of the last segment, our boss is in the other room where Craig sits, and everyone's got a strange look about them, and I'm kind of flustered, which I never am on the air, really, getting to the weather, which is like the most basic thing. And as I'm about to leave the segment, in walks, and I turn around, well attired in a suit and glasses, and he is a minister, is you, Tom Fodi. Hello.
I'm here in the flesh.
Now, how did this come about that you were close enough to you were like right next door, weren't you?
I was just down the street. Yeah, I was having a meeting that I wouldn't normally be having, but I was having a meeting, and I wasn't listening to the radio, but a friend was, and he said, I think they just talked about you on the radio. And I said, what? In what context? And he explained it to me, and I said, that's the only cross-country race I think I can vividly remember, is that race where I stormed past you. It's the best race I've ever ran. And you're right. You crushed me shortly thereafter.
And you are a minister. You ran for state house.
I did.
And you're a businessman. I know you don't have quite the same vivid memory of that race, because I remember slow motion details of seeing your back and shoulders passing me.
Clearly it's giving you nightmares.
Oh.
Yeah, for me it was one of those highlights of my athletic career, which there weren't very many. And I do remember you coming up to me sometime down the road and saying, hey, I beat you. And thinking, okay, great. I don't even think I remember who you were at the time. But
the sportsman Malsey. Did he congratulate you when you beat him, though? That's the question.
I'm not even sure I remember that. I just know I was heaving my lungs up and trying to survive the next day.
Well, yeah, if I didn't congratulate you then, I'd like to congratulate you 16 years later for running one of the greatest 2.5-mile legs of a race I have ever witnessed before since. Yeah, well, I think we have the Chariots of Fire coming up here. But, no, honest to God, man, it was weirdly formative. That was my motivating factor the rest of the year was I'm going to find this man and I'm going to beat him.
Well, I'm glad to have provided that for you.
How can we have we reached closure here, or how can we?
I think so. I feel like there's now peace.
He dunked on me. He posterized me. If you can
something feels emotional here. I feel like Tony Romo had his news conference.
Do you remember the Seinfeld episode where Jerry races the guy that he beat in high school, and there's another false start, and Jerry wins again?
Yes.
If he wasn't wearing a business suit, I would walk out into this hallway, and we would have a light jogging race and break the tape.
Well, tell me this, Tom, because the topic that this generated was the one that you let get away from your high school, Pee-wee, Little League athletic career. Do you have one? Do you have one that, like Malsey? Perhaps this is how we can achieve closure here, is for you to relate with Malsey.
Well, yeah, we had, Malsey, remember, we had that really steep climb in our cross-country track, and it was almost like a vertical climb. You're clawing with your hands and legs.
There's a hand railing there.
Yeah, it was a hand railing there, and I remember I was leading the pack. I was not the runner. I was not the chief runner. I'm not the team captain. I was anything but. And I was leading the pack, and I slipped up on that hill once. And it was my senior year, thinking this is the last opportunity I have to make a name for myself. And I slipped up and I fell back, and I don't even remember who the guy was who beat me, but a few people passed me at that point. But it wasn't. It didn't scar me for life like it did for you, apparently.
I think you two should hug, actually, at this point.
Nice staged hug for the cameras. I think he's a little scared, and he probably should be, that he was name checked almost 2 decades after a race that he ran.
It's amazing the impression you can have on somebody.
Hey, you know what? Like, in all seriousness, anybody needs motivation to do something like that for the rest of that. Because I'll be honest, it wasn't like my favorite sport. It was, I'll try this to see if I'm good at this or what.
Yeah.
That was like the carrot dangling in front of me the rest of the year. It just said, Fodi beat you. Fodi beat you. And that was what I ran after all year. So
we all have a purpose in life, and I think I may have just found mine, at least in my high school athletic career, that was my purpose for you.
This is awesome that you came in here today.
This is super
Thank
cool.
you so much.
I'm happy. This is the highlight of my day for sure.
Awesome.
We appreciate
Probably the
it,
highlight
man.
of my month.
Well, if you want to hear at 4:45, Tom, if you're in your car heading back, I know you're still Bellevue resident,
Absolutely.
right? Proud resident of Bellevue.
City councilman, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Elected office here. If you want to hear how that race has also impacted me in my competitive spirit, we do a little thing, a Jeopardy-style thing called the quiz show. And if I beat him, you will hear an inhuman shriek from me today.
Don't do it to yourself, Tom. This was a nice way to finish things.
I'll tune in.
Coming up next, I think we sort of have to continue this discussion.
Yeah,
Perhaps
and
others can have sort of a
cathartic moment.
Cathartic moment, exactly.
A huge thank you to Tom Fodi.
So much thank you, yes.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks, man.
I think